then this Goenka, who started talking about half an hour ago, will remain under the impression, the same Goenka. I am the same Goenka. The same Goenka was yesterday. The same Goenka was 1 year ago, or 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 67 years ago, same Goenka. Where same Goenka? Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka is taking birth. Every moment this Goenka is dying, another Goenka taking birth. The entire physical structure made of these subatomic particles arising, passing with such great rapidity, such great rapidity. This speed creates illusion, delusion, confusion. One cannot understand the reality. Even if one accepts the reality at the intellectual level, because the scientists have said so, the entire material world, there is no solidity, it's only wavelets, wavelets, wavelets. The modern scientist says so. Well, an enlightened person like a Buddha has said so. There is no solidity anywhere, just wavelets, entire universe, mind and matter, nothing but wavelets, vibration, vibration. Because you have got faith in them and you accept, that doesn't help. You have to experience yourself. And this is what was done by him to reach the final goal of full liberation. And that is what everyone has to do to understand the real change taking place. Every moment changing, changing, changing. With great rapidity, changing. A child is born. You see the child, beautiful, tender. You see the child after 10 years, a big change has come. And you see with the interval of 20 years, big change, 30, 40, 60, 80 years, unbelievable. The same child, how he became like this. And how he became like this. Not that at the end of every 10 years, he went to bed and some God Almighty passed a magic wand over his body and he got a changed person. Nothing doing. Every moment change is taking place, every moment changing, 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 decaying, decaying, growing, decaying, growing, decaying. This is the law of nature. This law of nature, if one accepts at the intellectual level or at the devotional level, does not help at all. It is just an intellectual pleasure, intellectual entertainment, or a devotional pleasure, a devotional entertainment. It won't help. But at the actual level, when one starts experiencing it, it makes such a big difference, such a big difference. And this is what he did. What you started doing is just a very tiny step, is a long path. One has to investigate so much deep inside to understand what this material structure is, what this mind is, and what interaction is going on at a very deep level. And this made him fully enlightened. Dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, dissolving, he reached the stage where he came to the ultimate truth pertaining to the matter, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mind, the ultimate truth pertaining to the mental contents, the mental concomitants which arise with the mind. And then it transcended that and experienced something which is beyond mind and matter. For the matter, dividing, dissecting, he came to the tiniest subatomic particle of which the entire body is made, the tiniest, to which he gave a name, Kalapa. Kalapa means a unit, a material unit, tiniest material unit which cannot be further separated. He called it Atta Kalapa. Atta means 8. 8 things joined together make this unit, and these 8 things cannot be separated. They are always together. The 4 basic elements like earth, water, fire, air, and each one has its own characteristic, joined together 8. These characteristics are more important, and that can be experienced. When one reaches to that stage, then it becomes easy to understand the mind also at the ultimate level. This is the reality of the mind at the ultimate level. This is the reality of every mental content at the ultimate level. And this made him understand what is this mind-matter phenomena. With such a great rapidity, all wavelets, 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 but with such a great rapidity, things arise, pass, arise, pass, arise, pass. He says, by the time I snap my fingers, or by the time I blink, this tiny little subatomic particle arises, passes trillions of times, trillions of times. A Western scientist also has come to the same conclusion. A professor in Berkeley University, he was studying, trying to understand how this atom is working. This was clear to the scientists of the West a century ago, that there is no solidity in the material world, mere wavelets, wavelets, wavelets. He was eager to know, very inquisitive to know the tiniest particle, how many times it arises and passes in 1 second. And to find out that, he invented a instrument which he very rightly called bubble chamber. Like bubble, it arises, passes, passes. And with the help of this bubble chamber, he could find out and then announce that this tiniest atom, it arises and passes in 1 second, 22 zeros after 1, 22 zeros after 1. And here another scientist in the East says that by the time I snap my fingers or blink my eyes, trillions of times it arises and passes, arises and passes. They came to the same conclusion. And yet what a great difference, what a great difference. Quite a few students from this part of the world, California, Berkeley, they came to India, took courses when they heard about this professor, and he is a very renowned professor. He passed away recently and he got Nobel Prize, and Nobel Prize is not given to any Tom, Dick and Harry. Somebody must have invented something which people didn't know. So he was a very famous man. So out of inquisitiveness they went, curiosity to see this person who reached the stage which an enlightened person reached, and they found him a bundle of misery, full of tension. Why he could not come out of his misery? Why he could not come out of his tension? Whereas somebody coming to the same conclusion got free from all miseries, because Bhavanamaya Panya was missing. He had come to this conclusion with the help of his apparatus, his instrument, the bubble chamber. He has great faith in this bubble chamber. He has great faith in his own intellect, and he says it is so. But this person is not using any scientific instrument or apparatus, only his experience, direct experience, and this makes all the difference. When you go deep inside to understand the reality of your mind and matter interaction, it is not for the sake of curiosity, not to quench the thirst of your inquisitiveness. It is, the purpose of it is to come out of the ignorance and see how out of ignorance you keep on generating impurity after impurity, defilement after defilement, negativity after negativity, and you become a bundle of misery. To change that habit pattern, one has to go deep inside, and experience the truth. The first truth which one starts experiencing is the truth of change. Every moment a change is taking place. The entire mind-matter phenomena, constantly changing. And that is understood at the experiential level. Everything is changing. There is nothing throughout the physical structure or the mental structure, as you keep on dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, nothing which you can say this is the hard core and now this remains permanent. You keep on exploring. If there is any hard core, let me see, let me experience it, and this is what the Bhavanamaya Panya will do. The anicca, the change, is experienced now. The change is not accepted merely at the level of intellect, not accepted merely at the level of devotion, at the actual level. Change.